Hello, everybody, and welcome to Vape Politics Radio, Episode 8, Sweet Home, Alabama. This past weekend, I was at Vaping The Coast, and everything you're about to hear is on location. I do apologize for the first interview's audio quality. I was out on the show floor. The rest of the interviews were recorded in the VIP lounge, where it was a little more quiet. You will still hear some background noise, but that's the cost of doing a podcast at a national vape meet. I'm going to go through the docket for today, let you know who we will be talking to, and there will be annotations in the description if you want to skip to a specific interview. That way you don't have to listen to all 3 hours. However, if you do choose to listen to all of it, that is much appreciated, and we love you guys, those loyal. So I'm going to go through the docket real quick. Jason from the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama is first up. We then have Donovan from Avail and Chris from Bankcard USA in one interview. Past that, we have Austin from Revol and Nicole from the Mad Alchemist to talk a little bit about the e-liquid side of the industry, and that's one interview. We have Joe from the Vaping Militia. We have Zach from Cyclops Vapor. We have Scott from the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama. We have Chris Tucker from Cutwood. And we have Tony from Vapor Dreams. All of this and more coming up on Vape Politics Radio.
Hello, everybody. This is Noah Richardson with Vape Politics Radio on location at Vaping on the Coast in Mobile, Alabama. I am here with Jason Camp from the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama, and we're going to discuss some advocacy legislation going on right now. So tell me about what happened a while back when you guys won your fight.
Well, a while back, it just really came out of nowhere that the state of Alabama proposed a 25 cent a milliliter tax on all consumable liquid products containing nicotine. Within 24 hours, we got a group of about 30 shops together. We hired a lobbyist that actually helped run Governor Bentley's campaign to be elected. So she was well connected in Montgomery. And we hired her, and we started lobbying hard down in Montgomery, and we were able to quickly and successfully defeat HB 224. And now they are calling a special session because Alabama has a $300 million budget shortfall. So they're basically trying to tax and spend. They're trying to tax soda products. They're just doing a lot of tax and spend legislation right now.
Right. So with this one specifically, we're talking about a proposed tax within the budget of the state, right?
Yes, sir.
Which would be 25 cents per milliliter.
Yes, sir. Anything containing liquid nicotine would be taxed 25 cents a milliliter.
Which turns a 30 ml bottle up $7.50, right?
Yes, it would make $7.50. We feel like it would push a lot of people to go online and order out of state to beat the tax. And it will really hurt a lot of the smaller shops in Alabama. They're also want to lump us in with tobacco, requires to have a tobacco license. And it's just, we're not a tobacco product. It's not fair that we're being, lumped in as a product that contains tobacco when we have no tobacco in our products.
Right. So specifically what this is going to do is the 25 cents per milliliter on anything with nicotine, any juice containing nicotine, any e-liquid containing nicotine, and a 25% tax at the wholesale level.
Yes.
And that's confirmed.
Yes.
That would be astronomical considering the amount of business that Alabama does in the vapor industry. Now, would this bill or this budget item legitimately push vapor products under the tobacco product laws?
It would lump us in with the tobacco products. I'm not 100% specific because they kept the bill a secret through the special session. It just was released yesterday. I haven't had a chance to read over it yet, but our lobbyist will be here tomorrow, Sunday, and we'll be doing a reading of the bill on the floor tomorrow afternoon at Vaping The Coast.
Awesome. So specifically, what we're saying is that if vaping products within Alabama are thrown under tobacco products, not only with this 25 cent per milliliter, but this 25% tax at the wholesale level, on top of that, vapor products would be defined as tobacco products.
Yes, and the 25% is going to be on wholesale, on hardware. Right. So the juice is going to be separate from the 25% wholesale cost too.
Gotcha. All right, so tobacco permits will have to be acquired by all companies that deal with e-cig/vape products. Do you agree with that statement? Like, are you okay with that? Or do you believe that because we do not want to be declared a tobacco product, we shouldn't have to apply for tobacco permits?
I would rather us be reclassified and not lumped in, have our own classification, versus being lumped in with tobacco. I just don't feel like, the biggest part of my job is to get people off of combustible tobacco products. The goal of this is to get down to no nicotine and not need to vape at all. We happen to be in the business to where it's a great thing to lose a customer. It's not fair. And then if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be a quarterly or monthly recurring tobacco license. So that means the state does not necessarily have to reapprove your license next month, which could officially make you have to shut your doors immediately if you do not have a license.
Right. Well, that's a lot going on within the budget for Alabama. And you said, who's your lobbyist again?
Angie Stallnacker.
And she is the legitimate lobbyist for the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama.
Yes.
And for everybody listening at home, we will be talking with their lobbyist here in about, for you guys, 30 minutes, for me, 2 days. So we'll catch up with you here in a little bit. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Noah Richardson with Vape Politics Radio on location in Mobile, Alabama at Vaping the Coast. I am here sitting with Donovan and Chris, and we're going to talk a little bit about the vaping industry from the inside perspective and the outside perspective, and a little bit of how that affects everyone as a whole. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. My name is Donovan Phillips, and I represent Avail Vapor.
And my name is Chris Jimenez, and I represent Bank Card USA.
Awesome. So when did the two of you enter the vapor industry?
Well, Chris, go ahead and take that.
All right. Okay, well, I entered the vape industry. It's kind of interesting, but a couple of years ago, started a website called eCigAvenue.com after seeing a bunch of my friends vaping and thought, well, this is something that's interesting in a growing market. And it was the idea was to create an online business, and I had a background in online stores and e-commerce and a marketing and branding background. I thought that it would probably be a pretty good play if you understood how to drive traffic and understood how to build your brand.
Right.
And I had some great technology partners that knew how to kind of build and drive traffic and so forth. And so we jumped into the space about 2 years ago, and and we started selling products online and started learning a lot more about the industry. I had been a smoker, so I had gotten off of smoking or quit smoking behind a vape, and I thought this is a great thing. It's not just an opportunity to make money, but this is a great way to get people off of smoking.
Right.
And smoking cigarettes, cigars, whatever.
Awesome. So what are you doing now?
Well, I'm with Bank Card USA. We are a direct processing bank that services the vape industry, and I entered that opportunity with the idea that there's an incredibly high rate that the industry is being charged by credit card processors, and I saw the opportunity there to simply lower the rate to something that's much more business friendly to entrepreneurs. Let's face it, this is an entrepreneurial-driven industry. Every dollar counts, and I had a wide background. Part of that was in the financial sector. Went to the owner of Bank Card USA, said, listen, I understand this industry. He said, great. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. How do we work something out? I took over the division. The vape division, we're often known as the vape bank to the industry.
Awesome. What about you, Donovan? How did you get into the vaping industry?
Wow. So I was traveling for another job that I was doing as in engineering, and I stumbled across a kiosk that had the stick batteries. And so I picked one up, and by the time I had gotten home, I had already figured out a plan on how to tear it apart and really kind of wanted to see what made it tick. And then built that into, okay, how can I make this better? An actual, not just a novelty product, but something that I can use for myself for long term. And it grew and grew and grew to the point where I had the hardware that I thought would work for me. And then I started tackling the liquids. So that's where Vapor Alchemy was born. And that was my first entrance in. And VaporCon 1, I was there, trying to peddle a pipe that I had made and some liquids, and that's really how it kind of started.
Awesome. You're with Avail now, obviously. Most people know who you are. How did that kind of transition take place?
So, again, started Vapor Alchemy on the side just for something for me and my friends and family. And again, it started growing so fast that my current business partner, I introduced his wife to vaping. And she was an RN that used to work in an emergency room environment. So high stress, whenever they're on call, they can't smoke, and then whenever it's, again, the high stress piece, they run outside and they chain smoke. So to see it affect her in such a great way in their entire life and their family, he was in. So she was kind of pressuring him to get into the business. I was kind of pressuring him to get into the business from looking at my success and then his internal life story. And we made Avail. Awesome.
So I know that you were with the group that was at the SFATA conference,
Yep.
that kind of birthed this idea of vapefreeyouth.com, which is just kind of a list of guidelines that a lot of, specifically e-liquid manufacturers, are really taking a look at and agreeing to, where we're finding common ground. How did that kind of take place?
We're very blessed, again, to join and be a part of that. The idea is that if everybody in the room wanted to be able to agree on some principles and kind of put the competitiveness aside, right, and really kind of look at our industry as a whole, and the thick black line that Mitch Zeller kind of brings up, you're either on this side of the fence or you're on that side of the fence. So, the idea is in that room represented quite a bit of the marketplace, and if we don't do something, so the idea is that if we didn't do something as a whole, as an industry, right, they're going to do it for us. So again, we decided to agree on some principles, and that's exactly what it was. What can we all agree to at one time in a room? And we put something together that I think was really special and a great first step. Again, it wasn't the end-all, be-all,
right,
but it was a great first step. And I think we've seen a lot of positive industry change. Even at this show today, there are vendors here that have changed labels and their marketing strategies based on those actions. So it was a really cool thing. We're very blessed to be a part of that.
Right. The last time Vape Politics looked into it, we saw over 350 vendors had signed up for this. Now, I know signing up doesn't automatically mean, everything's fixed, but this is a good step forward, and that's kind of what Mitch Zeller wanted. He wanted us to do something. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So as the FDA stands right now, as far as we know, because the regulations have still yet to drop, but as far as we know, the grandfather date right now for innovation is still February 2007. What Congress is doing right now, they have a spending bill that is going through Congress right now that would change the grandfather date forward. It would pull it from 2007 up to where we are now when the regulations actually drop from the FDA. That would protect a lot of the innovation and protect a lot of the businesses like yours. So let me ask you a question. If that fails, and everything has to go through the market processes, which, according to some of the estimates, are going to cost millions of dollars, how is that going to affect your business if what's going through Congress right now fails?
Well, I think it would change the face of our industry, right? And I think, if you've read a lot of the FDA documents, they do have one thing that sits kind of in our corner, and they don't want to stifle innovation, right? So they have a responsibility to people not to do that. So, again, everything on the table right now is kind of hypothetical. You've got a plan A, plan B, and plan C. If the regulations are very strict and these kind of things, we're prepared as a company to take care of what we need to. We've got a great lab and infrastructure put in place, with our new science service division. That's a service where we're helping mentor other companies with their products and the liquids to, make the right moves and the right stand and these kind of things. So as a whole, I think, everybody's got to kind of work together, and we'll get through it for sure.
Awesome. I'll flip that coin over to you, Chris. Being a credit card processor who's really invested in this market, if the FDA regulates 95% of the industry out of existence, what does that do for you? What exactly? How does that affect you?
It's a really good question, and I would probably frame that in that. Credit card processor is what we like to refer to as our agent network, and these are broker offices that deal with the industry in a broker fashion, where we end up being we're the bank. So we're completely invested in this industry, and my whole vertical, 100% of my time, 7 days a week, is completely dedicated to the survival and growth of this industry. So it's a massive impact to us. We have thousands of merchants that are vape companies, online stores, brick and mortar shops across America, juice companies, what have you. We do it all. So, and when I say thousands of merchants, I kid you not, thousands of merchants that are, what I mean is business owners that are processing their daily payments through us, and we're clearing those payments. And so it would be a massive impact to us in a negative way. So we look to strengthen and bolster these alliances with the likes of Avail Vapor and Donovan and every big brand in the industry. Pretty much it has a relationship with us, from Vapor Beast to Giant Vapes to Vapor Shark and then all the Vapor. Cyclops Vapor, of course, and then the Cutwood, Cosmic Fog, Space Jam Juice, Five Ponds. I mean, and you just go right on down the list to Charlie's Chalk Dust, on really Propaganda E-Juice, and Ruthless is another big one at this show, a big sponsor. So it's not a small little off to the side thing that we're not concerned with. We are very invested in this and have great relationships with all of the owners of these companies I've just named. And Donovan and I are very good friends, and are constantly exchanging notes and keeping our finger on the pulse of the industry, and however we can support and help educate the younger business owners coming up to do the right things and to be involved in the right way.
Awesome, absolutely. So let me take this one step further, and then we'll talk a little bit about the show and how you're feeling about that. But what exactly are you doing to protect the industry, advocacy-wise? I know, Donovan, you're involved. So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So when we, time allows, and there's never enough time in the day, we like to get involved. We are involved in a couple tobacco manufacturing associations, again, trying to learn from history's past, right? Those guys, there's been many different avenues, right? There's the cigar industry, there's the, big tobacco, of course, and then there's the roll your own kind of guys and the pipe guys, right? So they've all had to fight through the FDA, through different channels and networks, a ton of different ways, right? So, there's a lot of information that we can learn from them, right? So we're involved on that side of the fence and just kind of getting a mentorship and understanding how they did it and what they did. The next phase is that we hire 3 lobbyists, right? So internally we hire a Democratic lobbyist, a Republican lobbyist, and an independent lobbyist. We've been fortunate enough in the state of Virginia to be able to defeat, I believe, 6 bills. So that was fantastic.
That's phenomenal.
At that time, we didn't have a smoke-free association in Virginia. So we set up an early warning network where people could text in, and we urge our customers to do so through social media, Facebook, store interactions, and then word of mouth. So we set up that early warning detection system to start petitions and where do you need to go and who do you need to write and these kind of things. So we undertook that entire burden for the state, and I think we did very well.
Absolutely.
And now we're flexing that infrastructure to the other states we're in. We're currently in 7 states and growing. So, again, we're trying to help that infrastructure go. So, again, in those 7 states, we're prepared and ready to go.
Awesome. Fantastic. So, Chris, what about you? I mean, I know that you know about advocacy. What I know you have more of a business-to-business relationship than actually getting involved with the state groups or the legislative groups, but all of that is important. So what exactly are you doing?
Yeah, so on a business-to-business level, what we're tasked with, being the largest processing bank to the vape industry, or the vape bank, if you will, is that our mentorship, if you will, and our leadership is, simply put, any company that's looking to platform and launch online and sell products online has to go through a very strict and rigorous list of items that they need to have in place to be able to, such as age verification, return policies, terms and conditions. There needs to be a large amount of information on the website so that everybody, as we consider everybody who is processing with our bank, is in compliance on a multitude of levels, state by state, nationwide, as well as what we're held to with the big brands Visa, MasterCard, American Express. So
Right.
that's really what our business is about, is allowing. Here's the funny thing. Most businesses don't understand that until they kick their doors open, that the most important relationship they have is their merchant account.
Right.
And that's not an overstatement. Trust and believe, anybody down on this trade show floor that you speak to is interested in talking about their merchant account. So where that rate is at, how fast are they going to get their funds, and are they in regulation, and are they following compliance issues?
Right.
So that's a big part for us. And then there's, quite frankly, a number of brands that are looking to charge into the marketplace with venture capital money, Wall Street money, and so forth, that don't understand the first thing about what we're doing in this industry, and we're not interested in doing business with them.
Right.
I mean, we're as you might think, a bank might have a high greed factor needle pointing to the red. Ours is at a low. We're more concerned with the long term and the lifespan of this industry, and where it can all be, how we all feed our families, and where it could be in 5 and 10 years from now. And
Right.
overall, the theme being getting people off of smoking and away from some of these harmful chemicals that are killing people.
Right.
And so we're excited to be a part of it. We're excited to be the industry leader in processing payments and helping young business owners to understand, hi, how are you doing? Now I'm going to be your most important relationship going forward. They think it's getting a bank account at their local bank, or they think it's creating a logo for their company, or getting in the popular juice lines and popular hardware lines into their shops. And those are all very important issues. But at the end of the day, if you're not processing payments via credit card or debit cards, you're not in business.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah, cash is dead, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately for you.
I mean, they can do business with cash, and some of them do, but they just don't realize until they get the doors open or they get their website launched, holy smokes, this merchant account thing is a big deal. And a lot of them are getting shut down by banks that don't understand their model, don't understand the industry. I mean, this is the largest problem. This is the pain points of a real business owner is, hey, I just got my funds held, and I haven't been able to get them for 2 months. Or I got my merchant account terminated because I'm selling vape products. What the hell?
Right.
And we're open for business in that area, but there's going to be some rules and some hoops you're going to jump through, and we have to dictate that to them and teach them what it is that they're doing in their business model. And they don't realize that they're in a high-risk business, and all they're seeing is, hey, I want to get involved in the vape game, and I want to start selling products. So if you're going to get a merchant account, there's going to be several rules you're going to follow. And there's a lot of young business owners coming into the space, and welcome aboard. But here's the rules and regulations to doing business here.
Right.
And that's what Donovan was talking about from the advocacy side, and then there's the financial side, and that's why it's great to have both of us here to speak a little bit about what a young business owner is going to have to go through, and there's quite a bit.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the show a little bit. This is one of the biggest room-wise expos I've been to recently. What do you guys think of the event? I know, Donovan, you don't have a booth here, but you are walking the floor. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this show, compared to other shows, it's a great show. We've really enjoyed our time here. The food, believe it or not, has been the best we've had in this entire show season. This spanning, close to 20 shows we've attended this year.
Wenzel's.
Yeah, Wenzel's.
Wenzel's. We're definitely
Wenzel's.
Absolutely. We're going to plug Wenzel's. That's
absolutely
fantastic.
Get the bread pudding with the butter sauce.
But be ready for a nap. Be ready for a nap.
Be ready for a nap.
That's right. You're going to need that nap. But if you're ever in Mobile, Alabama, go to Wenzel's. Get some oysters and the bread pudding. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
The show it's been interesting. It's been good. Our foremost focus down at this one is that mentorship, right? Setting the good foundation for what we've got going on. And again, that new science services arm is to help mentor other juice companies and these things to test their liquids and have labels that are good to go, and really start to clean it up from both sides of the fence. Depending on whatever pain points that they may have, it's just helping them grow and becoming more of a tool for their own business to expand.
Awesome. Chris, what about you? What do you think about the show?
Oh, I think it's a great show. I'm still recovering from the dinner at Wenzel's. And,
I think we all are.
Yeah. And great people, the nicest people I've probably been around. And And the city's been great in embracing us, and the show is it's great. I mean, it's I don't know if it's really important to compare to other shows. They've run a great show. We're happy to be a part of it, and we've certainly had our share of lesser well-run shows.
Right.
So we chuckle a little bit, but they've done their best to roll out a very professional platform for all of us, and so as I do have a booth here, we are exhibiting here as we always are at every show. We rarely just try to show up and walk a show. We always try to have an anchor booth at every show so that young business owners can come to us, learn a little bit more about a merchant account, about our one rate program, which is probably it's a little business plug. You know, that's the thing that really helps businesses understand what they're going to pay in their rate. There's no deceptive programs that they're put into where they're charged a myriad of different fees. We bundle and package one rate for one processing program, and then we sort of have that in two spaces. One's for online or what we call phone orders, where the card isn't present, or keyed transactions, and then there's a different rate for what your brick and mortar is, which is a retail environment where you can actually see the person, card the person, and have a retail, and you get a retail rate for that. So there's a lot to that, and we're very excited to be a part of this here. So yeah,
awesome.
Love Mobile.
While we're talking about the show, I actually have one of the showrunners up here with me right now. You want to come and introduce yourself?
I'm Mark Bird with Vaping The Coast.
Awesome. Real quick question for you, Mark, because this is what I was about to lead Donovan into, and I kind of want to get a grasp with what happened in New Jersey last week.
Right.
It was an absolute atrocity.
Yeah.
Nothing went right.
Right.
So what did you guys do I know there was a lot of pre-planning to this, but what did you guys do after seeing that to make sure that this event went off without a hitch?
Well, we did a lot. First off, we double-checked with the convention center here, the SMG and the mayor of Mobile. We got letters and documentation from the city attorney, as well as the mayor of Mobile, and we've got the union leaders and owners here at SMG to provide documentation for us, because it's a right to choose state. There are bars right around the corner where people are still smoking cigarettes, so it's basically on the establishment owner to decide whether or not they want to allow vaping or smoking in their event.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Donovan, I have to ask, because the question is here and a lot of people have been messaging me and asking me about it. You were at New Jersey. What do you think could have gone right? Because the question to ask, what went wrong, is just too broad of an answer. What could have gone right?
What could have gone right?
What could have gone right?
Wow. That seems like a loaded question, man. But what I'd say is, from an experience of setting up a booth at all over the country and just about every show, I would have to say I would plead with anybody who's attempting to run a show that there needs to be a pre-set up day, a day that's dedicated for setup. Reason being, I think that would be my first big bone of contention with the New Jersey show, is that you had to set up the same day that the show opened, right? And we're very blessed to have a lot of vendors in this industry, but you got to think of how long it takes to unload freight for as many vendors as you want to fill the room with, and I don't think enough time was allotted for that. So by the time the doors were open, it was a construction site, and I feel that there's a lot of liability there. It's just not a good look for our industry. We have responsibility, if this is how we want to showcase ourselves, to do it in a responsible, professional manner, and create a good, fun environment for people to not only do business but actually understand what we do and what we want to do. We have the cloud chasers, and then you have the people who are coming to walk a show, and then you have the newbie that just heard from their local shop that there's a show in town and they really want to go see it. So we need to be able to concentrate on every bucket and every demographic, and have a responsible clean show ready to cater to any of those people.
Awesome.
Yeah, the enthusiast is who you have to, I think, embrace. That's the longevity of the industry. Somebody who's just heard about it, just checked it out, and they're coming to a show for the first time. You've really got to embrace that person. That's the seedling that's going to sprout to 10 more. And if you don't embrace that person and you start turning them away at the door, or you start fining them, or you start having problems, with your local government based around that, then you're going to ingrain in them a very negative impact about what the vape world is about.
Right.
That's not what we're about.
We're about tobacco harm reduction, getting people off smoking.
That's right.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great note to end on. I appreciate all three of you now jumping in.
I would like to point out that we did, we listened to a lot of the complaints that we've heard from some of the conventions, and one of the complaints was the loadout time, which is why we actually had a whole day of setup before our event.
Yeah, I noticed coming into the very earliest B2B portion of this event, everything was almost set up.
Yeah, and we tried, even though we did meet some resistance, we also raised the age limit, even though it wasn't absolutely necessary because, this pending bill hasn't yet taken place, but it included language to raise or to include e-cigarettes as a tobacco product, which is 19. So at first, we had our event age set at 18, which was legal according to the city attorney. But in order to kind of maintain the same professional kind of like image that you were speaking about, we said, okay, we'll take the hit. We did get some complaints because we had pre-sales. We had a lot of pre-sales of tickets, and we had to refund a lot because we raised the age to 19. We decided that was more important for our industry, for our community, to present a unified and professional attitude, and really follow the laws, really try to make sure that we are presented in the most positive light possible.
Right, because you wanted the perception of the public, not just the vapors, but the public of Mobile to have a positive perception of us.
Exactly.
And it's about a professional attitude, and that's, to your credit, Mark, that you've run a great show because you've taken the information from previous shows and you've implemented that into your current show here, Vaping the Coast, and you've done a great job with it. And we're honored to be a part of it. And,
well, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate all of you guys.
You couldn't have picked a better venue, man. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Absolutely phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. And these big ships going through the harbor here.
They're building destroyers right over there.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's nice.
You've done a great job. I wanted to, if we're going to close, I did want to say something.
Absolutely.
And this is Chris with Bank Card USA. If you want more information on rates and some of the discussion that I brought up, you can go to it's kind of a funny campaign that we put out, but it's called don'tbelarry.com. don'tbelarry.com, and you'll find more information about rates and what happens to a lot of merchants, and it's a video on there. You can learn a lot more about us and what I'm doing to help grow the industry.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep plugging. Donovan, you want to plug real quick?
Sure. So, Donovan Phillips with Avail Vapor. So you can check us out online at availvapor.com. And if you're looking for, a new juice line that can give you certs and batch lot information for your store, as well as great POP and store support, email wholesale at avail vapor.com.
And semantics are fun, but the juice is really good too.
And I would like to thank, Cutwood. Cutwood has been really amazing. They really came,
They came full out.
Yeah, they came with their A game, and they really helped us out, and they really put on a good show. And they're one of our bigger sponsors, Cyclops Vapor, Hold Fast. Those guys have really, really been, just a blessing.
Absolutely.
They bring a lot of experience and a lot of know-how into this, community, and they're always presenting a very professional image, and I really appreciate it.
You just named the brand. All those brands actually do their processing with
through Bank Card USA.
Yeah, great.
So and Avail Vapor, by the way.
Yeah.
So we've got a great thing here. We're very grateful to be a part of this movement.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming on. I appreciate it, and we'll move on to our next segment. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to take a turn in a different direction now. We've talked about a lot of advocacy, and we've talked a lot about, believe it or not, credit card processing thanks to Bank Card USA. Now we're going to dive
Love Bank Card USA.
Yes. That would be Austin Hopper, folks, of everything, because to nail them down to one company would kind of be a little bit hard. But right now we're going to talk about e-liquid and what's going on with that part of the industry right now. If you guys want to just introduce yourselves, and we'll talk a little bit about your companies.
My name's Austin Hopper. I'm launching my new line, Revol, at ECC. I'm here with Holdfast today, and I also have a line that launched in the UK that happens to be here in Alabama, which is Legacy.
Awesome.
I am Nicole Pennington. I'm the CEO and marketing director of the Mad Alchemist e-juice. That's all I've ever been, so I can't compete with Austin. So.
Well, it is supposed to be the Mad Alchemist.
You can see the bar just go.
Hey, I always raise the bar.
He's got a great radio voice. You can't compete with that.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Don't worry. We'll edit plenty. When did you guys enter the industry? How long have you been vapors? How long have you been business owners?
I actually bought my first Brevari out of Sky and Erica's guest bedroom before they ever opened locally. I got so frustrated with cargo tanks. I was in their store every other day because I couldn't stop it from moving. And the first juice I liked was CB4 by the Standard, the citrus creme brulee. And I was working at a financial institution at the time, and a buddy of mine, Andrew, said, hey, I know that you just merged with that company. They've done away with your position, so while you're not doing anything, can you come help me with this company, Space Jam Juice? And I laughed. And I'm like, you want me to come to work for a company called Space Jam Juice? Are you serious right now? And so I went over, and I met with Mike and Aaron and Andrew, and it really just kind of took off from there. And it exploded at ECC, and we actually put in an outbound call center, and people couldn't believe that Space Jam was calling them on the phone. And I couldn't believe that Space Jam was getting that kind of reception. And then, obviously, we launched Cosmic Fog while I was there. I went to Cutwood, and I've got the Revolve line, and just moving forward, and I guess I've been in the industry about 3 years.
Awesome.
I actually started in end of 2011, early 2012, on a stick battery with Cardos. That's how I kind of quit smoking. That was my transition. We had just bought a new home. We didn't want to smoke in the home, kids, everything there, and I didn't want that stinker smell. And, probably a couple of 3-6 months in, I'm like, I just can't get where we're from. We have a vape shop in our local area still to this day. So there was nothing there. It was all China juice stuff that was just whatever. Couldn't find anything that would satisfy me enough to actually quit smoking. So we got online, started looking it up. I'm a nurse by trade, and I have a background in chemistry.
Right.
He was a chef, so he knows the flavors. And one day I was like,
sounds like a perfect pair.
It was. It really was. Yes. So he started tinkering around. We ordered some PGVG, some Nick. He made a flavor. I was a menthol smoker. It was Winter's Bite, with us. And it was like, try this. And one day he comes home. I was a 2.5 pack a day. I mean, I smoked a lot, right? One day he comes home and he says, I'm going out. Do you need a pack of smokes? And I said, you know what? I think I'm good. And he's like, really? I was like, absolutely. So we sent it out to friends, most of them right here in Mobile, Alabama. And they were like, you know what? You could sell this. I was like, no, we can't really. And they're like, yeah, you could totally sell this. So we launched 7 flavors to start, and it took off from there just like that. It boomed overnight. The reception we got was unbelievable. It is an understatement, and it just blew us away. So here we are 3 years later, and that's how we did it. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about the specifics of the e-liquid a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I know, Austin, you've been involved in e-liquid for a really long time. I know you've also been involved in e-liquid for a long time. The term bathtub juice gets thrown around a lot in our industry. So what makes the Mad Alchemist different?
We operate in a clean environment. Everything is non-porous surfaces. We have a entry system that is code locked. You have to know the code to get into it. We have one person that actually mixes our juice, and that's the Mad Alchemist. That's Josh Pennington, my husband. No one else is involved with that process. It is, we scrub it down every day. At the end of the day, you go in. We have one of those cleaning systems that they use in hospitals, where you come in. It's not just it's steam that heats everything to a certain degree. So if there's anything in there, it is gone at the end of that day.
Bye-bye.
Yes. So everything is done gloved, mask, coats, hair nets, even you got the little things for the feet, right? The little nets that go over your feet. Like I said, I was a surgery nurse for 15 years.
Right. So you understand.
I understand what it takes to actually. Are we going through a decontam? like you see in these movies before you walk in? No. But when you walk in there, everything that could possibly get into that liquid is eliminated. We eliminate as many of the factors of contamination as we can before anyone even steps across that threshold. So that's what we do. And that's what we try to keep, at the standard of what we do. Awesome.
Oh, see, I pictured that so different. I pictured him in there like Frankenstein's laboratory.
In his costume.
It's alive!
It's alive!
Well, that goes on later.
So, Austin, what about you? What's going on with Revolve?
We are launching it at ECC. Revolve is actually made in Jasper Laboratories. So it's ISO 7 GMP certified, AMSA registered. And I just think that that's the standard that you need to be at, just like what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You're making sure that everything is done because we have a responsibility to the vape community to make sure that what's going in that bottle is exactly what's going to be required later down the line. None of us can sit here and know. None of us have a crystal ball to know what the FDA is going to determine we need to do. But what we do know is they're going to ask for GMP certification. So that's one of the things that we've already done. We don't know if they're going to ask for IO7. We can speculate all of those things. So I think that what we're doing is we're preparing. We're getting the tamper-evident seals, child-resistant caps, and we're doing all of those things. We have the batch numbers, the product liability insurance. I think that's pretty standard. I know the Mad Alchemist does it. We do it. And I think a lot of the larger brands are already getting prepared because we need to make sure that we're still here for the vape community because they've been here for us from the beginning.
Absolutely. So let me open up this question to either of you. But from an advocacy standpoint, what can we be doing on not only the federal level with the FDA, but on state level? Because I know with Arkansas, they just landlocked themselves to the point where, for instance, you guys can't sell directly to Arkansas to a consumer inside of Arkansas, correct?
It's yes. There are, and I think Indiana has the same thing going on.
That'll
too.
become effective.
Right. And from an advocacy level, what we can do is, and I'm going to give a huge example. You come to these vape shows. If you're throwing out free products, free T-shirts, there's 15,000 people out in front of that stage, right? When someone comes up and starts talking about advocacy, everyone walks away.
It was a perfect example last week in New Jersey. I was so fired up watching Phil Basardo's video last week when Joe got up from the Baby Militia to talk.
People were walking away.
And that group of people in front of that stage, that was all vendors.
I know. That was us. That was us, right? Yeah. So I know not everyone, we donate several $1,000s, whatever we can do. I'm close enough to Tennessee. I'm very involved with Dimitri and the Tennessee Free Smoke Association. We're members.
No free plug to the
but we're members.
Phil Basardo, Bacon Greek, Joe. But we're just hitting them all.
Right.
Just remember, you're the one that's here, Austin.
Yes. But he's the one that's going out to DC. He's the one, and even Austin. There's pictures all over the internet of him out in California, and they squashed that in California. It got killed. Yes. Because we came together as a group. I don't care if you're a local vendor, even if it's $5, donate to your local chapter. Become a member of SFATA, become a member of CASSA. Actually, you don't have to go to DC and fight the fight, but give what you can. Give $5, give $1. If one person gave $1 and there's 10,000 of them, look at what we can do with that money in the long run. And that's my recommendation is give what you can. You're spending $100 at a vape meet to buy juice. Spend 50, give 50 to advocacy groups. That's what you can do. And that's what we try. We're not here fly by night, make what we can and get out and say, screw you guys. I want to do this forever. Absolutely. I want to be here 10 years from now. I want to hang out with Austin.
We will be here 10 years from now.
But if we don't all come together and try to keep what we have, then, what's the future hold? And that's what I say.
Well, and I can't disagree with anything that you've said. And what I would say is that unfortunately about 5% of the industry is doing 100% of the work.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the unfortunate part. And everybody wants to come out to the shows, and everybody wants to show off their brands, and they want to do all the things to get in front of the people that are going to buy it. It's not going to make a difference if we're not still here, like you said, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So coming together in groups and getting involved in the local areas is what everybody needs to do, and make sure they're registered to vote and that they're actually paying attention. Because I would much rather see the day when instead of getting 2,500 reposts on a giveaway for 120 mils of juice, that we could get 2,500 posts on SB 140 being dead or what's going on now, what's going on with the tax in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are the things that we need to be reposting and sharing. If you want to give stuff away towards that, I'll give you all the juice in the world you want.
Absolutely.
Let's get behind the advocacy and let's stop just making sure that everybody's, here, get my free T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, and I love that the vape community wants to come out and they want to wear the shirts. And, I got the Mad Alchemist shirt, that I'll be wearing. Oh, I can't say that on here. And but at any rate, and so it's just those kind of things. And I think what we really need to do, and I think that a lot of us do a really good job of that, is coming together as the industry leaders.
Yes.
And showing that we're one vape community, because that's what needs to happen with the consumers, the stores, and with the manufacturers. We all need to realize that we're much stronger together than we are apart. Any of us sitting here could break a number 2 pencil. Rubber band 50 of those together and see if you can break it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. And that's what we need to do. Become one amongst many. That's the key.
Absolutely. So we've pretty much covered everything, but let me get your opinion on something that I asked Donovan and Chris earlier, which is, what do you think of the show? How's it going so far for you guys?
It's been great. I love. We are actually kind of pulling away from the bigger shows, and instead of spending, let's say, $20,000 to go to Vegas, and it's naked girls and juice brands that are marketed to children. I'm not going to say anything, but I would rather spend $2,000 on the show and give the rest of that back to the community, advocacy-wise, and so on and so forth. But these smaller shows, it's like family. When we come in here, everyone knows everyone. You give hugs to the people that love your product, and I have had a fabulous time in Mobile. I've had more fun here, and I've been on the road nonstop since the end of January, probably, easily. And I have had a more relaxed get to know, this is like my family here in Mobile, Alabama, than anywhere I've been up to date.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yes.
Something that I was talking about at dinner a couple nights ago was the fact that in the past 3 to 4 years,
yes,
we've lost what vape meat used to mean.
Exactly. It's gone, right? The beginning ones were great.
Right.
And then it turned into some kind of, I don't know, pay-per-view show that just is like, there's so much, you don't even know what to do with it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's all Austin.
You did that. No. Austin does the good shows, too.
Yeah.
But, you come back home, and I say that like it feels like home. You know, I know these guys. They use my product. They come up. They give us hugs. And they're like, I am so glad to see you guys here. That's what I want to do.
It's only because you have dragons for that.
Probably.
That stuff is so good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for being here. I gave the same opportunity to Donovan and Chris. If you guys want to do a self-plug, that may take 20 minutes for Austin, but we can go ahead and do a self-plug after you.
Like I said, Mad Alchemist, we don't sell directly to consumers. You can find us on giantvapes.com. We are in several 100,000 stores in the U.S. Just look it up. Just Google it. You'll find us.
Several hundred thousand.
Several hundred thousand. Several hundred, maybe 1,000.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's better.
So now we figured it out. She's mad and he's the alchemist.
I'm insane. Mad's not the word. So.
The Insane Alchemist just took up too much space on the t-shirt.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to trademark that as soon as I get home.
Yeah, absolutely you are.
All right, Austin.
Well, let's see. You can go to www.legacyliquids.com, www.revolvevapors.com, www.holdfastvapors.com, and of course, you can always reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram, or you can give me a call because my number is listed on the website at 949-228-2164. I'd love to hear from everybody in the video.
Also, if someone will remix that and put it to music, I will send you free juice for life. What Austin just did. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank
It
you.
was a wonderful interview. Thank you all so much.
No, always a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely. We're going to move on to our next segment. And we are back. Thank you for joining us. I am here with Joe from the Vaping Militia, and we're going to talk a little bit about, everything. We're going to start off with Alabama, though. So, Joe, what's going on with Alabama?
The state's running out of money, and they're targeting e-cigarettes to make up the deficit. It's kind of the same thing we've seen throughout a number of states. Kansas was the same thing. Ohio had it last year, too, but great folks up there in Ohio did a great job of being back over.
Right. So what we've got, as far as I know, is a 25-cent per milliliter tax, which would...
That's the threshold. That's just the first part.
That's the first part.
Yeah, And then there's a whole lot of bringing in tobacco designation and tobacco control enactments. So that's a big deal there because now you're talking about packaging, you're talking about display, sales, location, licensing, talking about adding hundreds of thousands of dollars of cost just to comply.
Right, just to comply. So with what's going on in Alabama, I mean, we're here in Mobile, Alabama, and we've got almost everybody here. Their lobbyist is in today, correct?
Yep.
Have you been able to talk to her yet?
Angie is here. She seems like a really nice gal. She seems sure exactly what she's trying to do for the industry. She's well connected. I think it make a big difference for what's going on in Alabama to have a great lobbyist with the connection she's got.
Right. So what is the game plan for Alabama so far? I know that there's a group of vapors getting together at the Capitol in Montgomery on Tuesday.
Yeah.
What are we doing here at the show, though? I know Militia's got a petition going for Alabama.
Well, it's not our petition. Actually, it's from the Breathe Easy Alliance. As normal, when the militia comes into town, we try to amplify the efforts that are already being done. And occasionally we'll go in and give some suggestions on things you can move to next. But the big thing there is to make sure that we're amplifying what they're doing. Our biggest goal here has been to educate. And there are a lot of shops that we've talked to who just had no idea of what was going on. So we gave them a chance to sit down and talk to somebody who could give them an idea. The other thing that we have also been doing is there's a lot of great things that are happening here in Alabama. We still got to keep our eyes on the national scene and keep getting awareness to like the coal bill and the agriculture spending bill is very important in the state.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that, what's going on in Congress. Give us a little bit of brief information on what that spending bill is going to do for us.
Well, let's go to the coal bill first. H.R. 2058 is going to actually move the grandfather date to the date of the deed. And that was said by Senator Cole out of Oklahoma. And I think the last number was somewhere around 22, 25 co-sponsors. So the big thing that people need to be doing is contacting their federal representatives and saying that they want to support 2058 because we need to get more sponsors on this bill. So there's a whole representatives, 470 something representatives throughout the United States. We need to get on this. We need to get more sponsors behind it.
From the legislative standpoint, what position is it in right now? Is it in the House? Is it still in committee?
It's moving. I think it may have gone to committee, but it's just moving through at this point. We're still gathering sponsors for the bill.
Right.
So it's on its final stage.
And what that bill would do is change the grandfather date from February 2009 to the day of the deeming regulations. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
It would change the Tobacco Control Act to amend us out and say it's the day.
Right. Right. Let's talk about the deeming for a minute. At what point do we have any idea on specifically when we're going to see that?
No. I mean, I've heard every guess. I've heard guesses from January to the end of this month to 3 years from now. I can't make even a call on this because I don't have a viable idea as to what they're really doing at this point. We do know we've seen some very interesting questions coming forward. There's a question about packaging that the FDA puts through.
And we're still in the middle of that 60-day comment period.
That's 60 day, and if you read through that, there's some very strange questions in there. And that it's kind of a wake-up call as to, hey, they're looking for stuff. And the process of how you submit substantial evidence to that is very complicated. Right. So, I mean, it's not just, I'm going to write an opinion, hey, I think we should use child-proof caps because they're child-proof.
Right.
And some vapors, I mean, it's an absurd comment. I would ever make something like that. Some people think, hey, that's right on. That's what they want to know. They're looking for fact.
Yeah.
They're looking for factual support. So when you get questions like, do you think that colors could possibly encourage children to look at the product?
Right.
This is the kind of questions they're asking. Wow.
Extremely loaded question.
I mean, I'm not a behavioral psychologist, a child behavioral psychologist. So who's actually qualified to answer that question?
Not a lot.
Not anybody who's making a label.
Right.
So,
forward from that, specifically with the FDA, what we've seen in the past with the proposed from last year, some of the stuff that came out, what do you think we're going to see change? Do you think that this is going to be an entirely different document than what we've seen in the past from the snippets that have come out?
Again, there's not we don't need it. We have some ideas of things that we as an industry have taken focus on, and let's go to how the process would work perfectly.
Right.
The way that if the process worked perfectly, then the industry provides to the FDA that scientific data that supports certain regulations being imposed on us. That's the way it works. Not the FDA does research and comes in and says, we're going to regulate you in this manner.
You're right. That's
a lot of people, everybody thinks the way the FDA does is that. But that's not the way it works in any other industry. So we as an industry have to step up and do our part. We have to do the research.
Right.
You know, and there's some of the groups out there like ERF that are trying to back some of that research. We need to get behind it, because if we don't do this research, then we're asking the FDA to create rulings in a vacuum.
Right.
Problem. Right. Yeah.
So what is the militia up to these days? What exactly is going on?
Oh, God. Right. Well, let's go back to January for a moment. Back in January, as the militia, we looked at two problems that we were concerned with. And the first problem is the number of people that were coming to respond. And don't get me wrong, CASSA does great work. But we need numbers. We need more people in the fight. And social media only reaches so far. Even, at these events, if you were to hang posters up that said join CASSA, if you were to hang posters up that said join SFATA, or even to the local group, it really doesn't get there as much as a physical presence. And that's what we've been doing throughout the United States. And here's the scary numbers. This is 31 shows.
Just this year?
Just this year.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's been an insane schedule. And I did it specifically because the board said we wanted to get out and talk to people. And it happens. We talk to people. We talk to individuals face to face. We put the Vapors information card in front of it. We put the vendor information card. And we're now looking at the manifesto, which has just recently been published. It tells vapors where they need to be setting their head. What's worth fighting for here, what's not worth fighting for. What do we need to do?
We have to educate the populace, because a very large majority, and this is unfortunate, but a very large majority of the vapors don't even understand what we're fighting about.
Yeah, they don't understand. First, the process of law is complicated. It is. Don't let anybody fool you. Schoolhouse Rock, that I'm a bill. That is kindergarten lawmaking. Their lawmaking is so much more in depth than that, and there's so many things that go on in that, and that's why the combination of using lobbyists who are very familiar with it, using trade groups that have put in information in a state. They got a relationship with the state legislature, and at the federal level, people like SFATA and CASSA, they're doing good things. And we've got vendors that have been reaching out to the FDA too to try to make this industry good. I know there might be a few people out there who have made some interesting comments. Well, if they're going to the FDA, then they must be hiding something.
Right.
That's just crazy.
That is ridiculous.
That is just insane. Get the tinfoil off your head. Go ask them what they talked about. If they're allowed to talk about it, they'll be glad to.
Yeah, I mean, I can count on all 10 fingers plenty of people that I know that were at that meeting.
Yeah.
Jeremy Dollar, Dimitri. We've got plenty of people that you can ask these questions to. The very first post on Vape Politics, period, was about that meeting with the FDA, what Jeremy said happened. We approached them. It wasn't the FDA saying, you need to be here and discuss with us what's going on. We approached them, and they got that meeting very fast. And what came out of that was not something that everyone agrees with, but vapeforyou.com, I believe, is doing something.
I think it's a move right.
Right. It's definitely a step in the right direction, especially with 300 plus vendors that have already signed on for those specific goals.
Yep.
But we have to be doing more things like that.
We have to take it. We have to take proactive steps.
Absolutely.
If we're waiting on someone to come in and tell us how to run our industry, what we need to do next, then we already lost.
Right. Awesome. Well, do you have any closing things about Alabama or anything that's going on?
Well, I just really hope that, there's about 250 shops that have licenses now. It's kind of time for Alabama to step up to the plate. If you're running a vape shop and you haven't done all your due diligence, get your due diligence done. Become a part of BEAA. They've got some good people there that can help you out a lot, and we need to move forward. And that goes for every other state, I guess. BEAA here, Smoke Free Florida down there, Tennessee Smoke Free, Pennsylvania SFATA, wherever it is.
Right.
So many people think that when the militia comes in, that we're trying to elbow out other advocacy groups. So much different from what we actually try to do. When we find out we're going into a certain area, the first thing we do is, who's the leader of that group and who's the leader of this group? Can we get everybody in a room and talk from the beginning so we're all on the same message, so we're all heading in the right direction? Can we bring anything to those guys that they need? They need support to one of our raffles. We'll suspend our fundraising and do theirs.
Right.
Always.
Absolutely. I know you guys did that in Vegas with NBC. I'll ask you the same question that I'm ever asking everybody as we close with interviews. What do you think of the show?
A little underattended, just on the consumer side, but the business to business was pretty good. I was very impressed. They got a heck of a venue here. It's a beautiful venue. I think the promoters really, the conduct of the show has been phenomenal.
Right.
And considering I've been to a few shows that probably weren't so well maintained.
Right.
But it's been phenomenal. The facilities are great. The staff's responsive, and it was really nice to see a lot of the Southeast vendors finally in one spot. Because this big event for Southeast.
Absolutely. I actually heard someone earlier say this expo feels more like a vape meet than most vape meets have recently.
I can see that.
Just because of
we're kind of jaded on that because we still run Expo, and Expo's still a vape meet. It's a vape meet playing.
Right. I did not mean Expo specifically. Yeah. I meant expos, as in like World Vapor Expo.
This does have a very homey, friendly feel to it.
I think that's Mobile, Alabama.
It's got to be Mobile, and the food down here is awesome.
Oh, phenomenal! Have you been to Winsel's yet?
I've
plugged Winsel's in every interview so far.
There's a few places you got some incredible food.
Oh, fantastic food. Well, Joe, I appreciate you. You want to plug Militia, give you the website real quick?
VapeMilitia.org. If you haven't figured out who we are by now, you just take us.
That's fantastic. I appreciate it, Joe. And we're going to move on to our next segment. Hey everybody, this is Noah Richardson with Vape Politics Radio, and we are back here with Zach Carpenter from Cyclops Vapor. You want to introduce yourself, Zach?
Yeah, I'm Zach Carpenter from Cyclops Vapor, and we got started a little over 2 years ago. We got into this industry because I was a 2-pack-a-day smoker for, right around 18 years. I started when I was young. I used to follow my parents around and older brother and his friends, and just got started real early and couldn't put it down. I tried everything for years and years and years, from the gum to the patches to the pharmaceutical, quit smoking aids, and it just didn't work. Nothing ever worked. I found vaping, right at a little over 6 years ago, and I haven't picked up a cigarette since.
That's fantastic.
So we carried on. I quit smoking. I got involved with some more people in the industry, and I kind of seen where it was going. Met a few friends, got into opening a store. That was my plan.
Right.
So in that process, I was learning how to mix my own juice, mix my own flavors, stuff like that. And in that process, I was buying stuff online all over the place, and I couldn't find anything that I was happy with. You know, there were inconsistent flavors. I would have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get products in the mail. I would buy something and be excited, and it would get there, and it just wasn't what it was supposed to be. And so that's where Cyclops Vapor got started. Is I wanted to give people a professional company. You know, it's what it was lacking at that time. And that's what our goal has been. You know, my partner Gary and I just, you know, we went into it head first and we said, look, either we're going to do this all the way or we're not going to do it at all. And that's been our stance the whole time.
Absolutely. And you guys are from Alabama.
We are from Alabama. I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. I moved over to Baldwin County, you know, 12 years ago now.
Right.
I can't even hardly remember. But grew up in Mobile, moved to Baldwin County. My partner, same thing. He grew up in Mobile and moved to Baldwin County later.
So this show for you is hometown.
It is. It's my hometown, and we represent it well.
Fantastic. So with what's going on, and we'll start with local and then we'll move to federal, but with what's going on with the state right now, Alabama with the 25 cent per milliliter tax, if it goes through, what exactly are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is why this industry's been around for about 10 years, and there's nothing proven that it's hurting anybody. You know, it's just not. There's no facts there that there's anything that it's doing to the public. Now, smoking is known to kill tens of thousands of people a year, making people sick. You know, cancer, lung disease, all those things that come along with it because you have a combustible product that additives are added to it. You know, they add stuff to cigarettes.
Thousands of chemicals.
Thousands and thousands to keep you addicted. When I smoked, I couldn't go to a movie without taking a break during a movie and go smoke a cigarette. That's what I enjoy about vaping is I can set it down for a couple hours if I need to, and I'm not thinking about it the whole time. I don't have that sick feeling in my stomach wanting to go get a vape.
That absolute dependency.
That's right. And if I only want to take a couple of hits, I take a couple of hits. When I lit a cigarette, I had to smoke the whole cigarette from start to finish, you know. So now we're looking at these regulations. You know, we've got all these facts saying that the possibility of it being way better than smoking, which I believe it is tremendous. And so now there's tax dollars being lost from tobacco because it's working. There are people moving away from tobacco. The numbers have shot down through the floor, and, well, those guys are feeling the pressure of it.
Right, absolutely.
So if you've got something that's killing so many people, making so many people sick, it's a burden on the healthcare system, it's a burden on the state, and now we've got a product that is keeping people away from that, you know? Like, I feel more healthy now than I ever have. I work out 3 days a week. I go run 5Ks. You know, I can play with my kids without trying to hack my lung up, you know? And so why are we trying to tax something more that's helping people than we even do something that we know kills people?
Absolutely.
Why? It makes no sense to me. So we're sitting here doing this. We've got something. What I see going on, it's hard to believe sometimes, but we've got a product that I feel like they should be backing, and let's do some more research because there is questions.
Absolutely.
We've got long-term research that needs to be done, but we're a decade into this and nobody's falling out. You know, so with those numbers, why are we not looking into it more instead of just trying to tax it to death?
Absolutely.
Because it's a 25 cent tax on a pack of cigarettes, a whole pack of cigarettes. But now they want a 25 cent tax per milliliter.
That would bump up a 30 ml bottle by $7.50. Yeah. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Why? Where does that number come from? And why are we even arguing about this? It's beyond me.
Absolutely. I'll be talking with the lobbyist from BEAA later today, and she's getting up on stage at some point today to do a
right now. She's on stage now.
Oh, that's fantastic. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, as an e-liquid manufacturer, moving more to the federal level, what is Cyclops doing? Like, how is the e-liquid manufactured? What are you doing to prepare?
Well, we've been preparing since we started this company. We've got a 13,000 square foot facility that we hire professionals in. You know, I began this company, you know, my partner, he handled the business side. I handled production. I did all the mixing, all the design and flavors. He handled making sure that our funds were properly going in the right direction. So, with that team, we're both on the same page on where we want to see this thing go. So we've built a Class 7 clean room to make sure that everything that's produced in our facility is as clean as it possibly can. We've got 2 chemists that research everything that they possibly can. They're finding out what's the best temperature to vape at. You know, if there's anything in liquid, do we need to remove it? But right now, the ingredients are so simple, there's not a whole lot there to look at.
Right.
You can look at the base ingredients and there's just nothing there. You know, we don't add extra chemicals. We keep it as clean as possible, but we hire professional staff to do the research. And not only do we want our research to help our company, but we want it to help this industry. I believe in this industry. And I don't bash anybody else. I want to see
everybody succeed.
I want to see everybody succeed, because ultimately it goes to the smoker. That's who we target. That's who I was. That's who I am now, is I am an ex-smoker that was killing itself every day that has another chance at doing something different.
Absolutely.
And as a company, we want everybody to have that opportunity. We want kids to see their parents live longer. We want kids to see their grandparents live longer. We want them to live longer once they get to the point, if they make a decision, if they want to smoke or whatever, it's an option. Now they have an option. It's not something that we have to force on people. If somebody wants to smoke, I don't beat them up for it. But I wanted to quit. I know a lot of people that want to quit, and now they have an option. So we need to keep that option going. That's what I fight for every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's phenomenal. One more question, and then I'll let you get back to what you were doing. With Cyclops specifically, I know that a big push for this show was price changing, and I'm going to kind of self-plug you guys real quick, but okay. What exactly are you doing with that?
The price changing we've been working on for a little while now, because devices use a little more liquid, and like my whole goal in this thing is to be able to give somebody a different option, a better option. Well, in that process, we have built relationships with so many people, you know, our vendors, the people that we buy our materials from, and we've got our prices down pretty low. We've got a good buying power now, and instead of us just keeping that and running with it, the community, they gave it to us, you know. They gave us what we have today. We couldn't have done it without them, and now it's time we give back to them.
Awesome. Fantastic. Real quick, on federal or state, what advocacy groups are you guys a part of? Who do you support? Stuff like that.
I support a lot of them. Our main one is the BEAA, because that's our local group.
Absolutely.
I'm also a member of SFATA, which works more on a national level for businesses and fighting that area. The vaping militia has been just phenomenal in this whole thing. These guys have their own lives that they live, and they take the time to come out here to the shows and educate people and talk to the people about it and go to governments and write bills and help us to determine, because I don't know anything about politics. I'm learning, but that's not my background. Well, these guys break that stuff down and help us to be able to look at it for what it is, you know. Also on top of that, CASSA is a big part of it. We've also got VapeWares, which takes donations from manufacturers like myself, and they send it to the smoking service members, you know, to get them away from smoking, because it gives them an option while they're out there fighting for what we're doing here. They've got a different option out there, so we donate to those guys. So there's advocacy groups all over.
That's
and phenomenal. we support all the ones that are doing what, you know, they're taking time out to do their thing, so we want to help them with that.
Awesome. So real quick, I know what the answer is going to be. This is the final question that I've been asking everybody during the interviews. What do you think of the show?
The show is great.
Right?
The show is great. For Mobile, Alabama, Matt has taken this thing and the volunteers and just ran with it. I've attended a lot of shows, and we presented well here. The vendors here have been great. You know, Mobile wants us back again. They're already talking to the guys about when are we doing the next show. The convention center said, hey, we've got more convention centers. Let's do something with this, because it's been great. You know, it's introducing people. They get to come here and learn about advocacy. They get to learn about what we're doing, the new products. It's not just about Cyclops Vapor. It's about the industry as a whole. And so the show's freaking great. I love it.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you, Zach. I appreciate you coming on, sir. We're going to move on to our next segment. Hello,
everybody. Welcome back. We are going to talk to the Vice President of the BEAA, the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama, to talk a little bit more about the bill and exactly what's going on. So take it away. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, my name is Scott Eichelberger. I'm the Vice President of the BEAA, and I own Bama Vapor in Birmingham, Alabama. A little bit about the BEAA. We organized quickly, like in a 24-hour span, back earlier this year when we got wind that a bill was being proposed to tax milliliters of e-liquid in Alabama and to tax the components and equipment that go with it. We were able to organize, hire lobbyists, and beat back that original proposal in the general session. Well, in the special session called by Governor Bentley, again, the vape tax proposal is going to be proposed for committee, and it includes a 25-cent per milliliter tax on e-liquid, a 25% tax on equipment at the wholesale level, and it's something where 2,000 Alabama jobs are at stake, and many businesses won't survive this tax.
Absolutely. Not to mention just the vapors, but the economy of Alabama would be impacted, correct?
It's going to trickle down to many other stores. You're going to have unleased spaces, people out of business, unemployment lines growing. To me, it would be a disastrous tax and really tax the majority of us out of business.
Right. Your lobbyist that you had here earlier today, what did she say would kind of be the next move? What can we do?
Well, right now we're signing petitions, got many signatures. Vapor store owners and the general public are encouraged to join the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama, which we're a nonprofit group, and we've just assembled quickly, but we're getting signatures. We're sending letters to legislators. We've hired Angie Stallnacker to represent us as a lobbyist, and in fact, we're all going to the Capitol Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we're all going to visit our legislatures firsthand. So anybody that can get on board and be at the Capitol Tuesday morning at 8:50, we're going to organize and go visit all the legislatures.
Fantastic. So specifically, when does this move? Like, when is the special session to take place? Do we have any information on that?
The special session starts Monday. So it starts this week. And I think there's 9 days before it comes to a vote. But I have read what is the legislation, which could be altered a little bit before it's actually introduced. But it's going to include the vape tax in as a tobacco product.
And this piece of legislation specifically would declare all e-cigarette products as tobacco.
It's got a little bit of gray area, and I'm not a lawyer by any means, but the way I read into it was that if it contains nicotine, it's going to be treated as a tobacco product and taxed accordingly.
Right. So that's what we have to fight against.
That's right.
What can we do? Like on the national level, this podcast itself reaches 49 out of the 50 states. What can we do to support Alabama right now?
You know, we can get on board. Please visit our BEAA website. That's Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama. We've also got a Facebook page where you're going to see a lot of activity. Angie posts on a regular basis with the happenings and the things that are going on, with links to the bills and the different items that we're fighting as a group. We do take consumer memberships. Right now, they're just $5 membership. Just join up for $5. We encourage all vape stores in the state of Alabama to join. We've actually gotten several pledges today, and we just signed up 3 more stores just a few minutes ago.
That's fantastic.
It was really good. So we got, $3,000 just like that to help us with our fight.
That's phenomenal. Well, while we're kind of on the path of things getting a little bit better, let me ask you, you being from Alabama, what do you think of the show?
The show's great. I'm floored. It really turned out well. I was a little nervous about that the outcome was going to be what it is, but it's been great traffic, a lot of fun. We've had a good time. We've manned our booth, but we've also got to go out and meet some vendors and meet the people, and it's been a great experience.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to do anything that I can do to help with the Alabama legislation. In fact, I may be coming down on Tuesday, and we'll do a little bit more recording then.
Please do.
Absolutely. Would you like to throw in your website for your shop and real quick?
Yes. Our shop is Bama Vapor. We're located in Birmingham, Alabama, 152 West Valley Avenue, or you can visit us online at BamaVapor.com. It's BAMAVAPOR.com. Our Facebook page or Instagram are the same, all Bama Vapor. We'd love to see you come in our store and visit us and support the stores that are members of the BEAA. I can't express that more than anything. Is if your store doesn't support, is not a member of the BEAA, ask them why, and then if they're not willing to join, to take your business elsewhere. But support the cause, because we got to fight this together.
Absolutely, and especially when you look at advocacy from an all-around perspective, if we do not fight these state campaigns, the FDA will have a field day. It'll be so much easier if states like Arkansas, I'm not sure if you've heard about what's going on in Arkansas.
I read the whole 42-page bill.
Yeah, so if every state did what Arkansas just did and it starts to trickle down and businesses start to close, the FDA, it won't be an issue. There won't be an industry left to regulate. So we have to fight. We have to be joining these state local groups and supporting everyone. And that's why I do this show.
That's right. And the first thing that happens is this is a pretty broad tax right here. And to me, 10 times worse than what I saw in Arkansas. But if something like this was to pass in Alabama, every other state's going to jump on board and think they can get it too.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Absolutely floored to be with you guys and help support the BEAA, and we're gonna fight this.
We appreciate it too, and welcome to Alabama.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Noah with Vape Politics Radio, and I'm sitting here with Chris Tucker of Cutwood, and we are going to talk a little bit about advocacy, Cutwood, and the show in general and how he thinks it's going. So just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Chris Tucker. I'm with Cutwood out of Orange County, California. Down here in Mobile, Alabama for the weekend for Vaping the Coast. It's been a great show so far, and looking forward to a few more great hours.
Awesome. So how did you yourself enter the vapor industry?
It's a funny story. My best friend John Cavanaugh owns 3 stores in Orange County, California, vaping industries. What happened is he got linked up with Cutwood, and he met the owner. We went to a convention in San Antonio, and kind of my start with Cutwood in the vaping industry was at ECC last year. That's back when our sugar drizzle was Sugar Bear. And I just wanted to go to the show, and they wanted somebody to run around in a bear costume looking like Ted for Sugar Bear. So I put on the bear costume, and the rest is history.
That's phenomenal. What's your position now?
I'm a senior account executive. Basically, I run the entire South for the company, and I also travel to any show, and we do all the MC stuff, and basically acting as the face, the voice of Cutwood.
That's fantastic. So how is the deeming regulations from the FDA going to affect Cutwood, and kind of how are you guys prepping for that?
Well, right now, nobody really knows what those are. Everybody's had myths. Everybody said, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you got to be in this type of lab. Right. The biggest thing for us at Cutwood, and we've always said this, it's always quality. We've had some success, and we've gotten bigger, and a lot of people look at us for that. We're producing an ISO 7 certified lab. We're AMSA certified. We have all the product liability insurance. We have the child safety caps on the bottles. They're all shrink wrapped. We're huge on that. We want to provide the cleanest product possible because we do know that they are going to regulate the industry. We just don't know what they're going to do yet. They haven't talked about it. We've heard certain things, and there's been myths and there's been rumors, but as you know, people talk in this industry. Right. Sometimes people will say stuff, and there's just no fact in it. So we're really just waiting to see. We've been working with some of the other bigger manufacturers. They were in the FDA workshop, so we've got kind of some feedback from them on what they said, and we're looking to get involved in that as well. Just really trying to work with them. I think the industry as a whole, instead of you see these people who have these the FDA and all this other stuff. I think that's the wrong stance to take on it. I think we really need to work with them because they're not trying to kill our industry. That's not their goal. There's other people that are, but I think this industry does need to be regulated. I was talking with Lucy Noble the other day, and there's some manufacturers that do it the right way. They have insurance on their product, they provide a clean product, they provide good customer service, And then you have your other people who just jump in it to make a quick buck and don't care about the end product and don't care about the consumer. So our biggest thing is we want to differentiate those two type of companies. The people that are doing it right and the people that are doing it wrong. So
right.
In preparation, we're just trying to do the best thing that we know how. We want to provide the cleanest product possible.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, you being from California, Senate Bill 140. With the defeat of Senate Bill 140, or what we thought was the defeat, was Cutwood involved in any of that?
Yes, we work with CASSA and SFATA pretty closely. A lot of the big advocates we work with, we try to really stay involved in what's going on. And the unfortunate part is we went up there and everybody spoke and did their thing, and he withdrew his support for the bill, but it's already back. It's back.
Yeah, special session.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the special session, but what can we do when it comes to this kind of special session? Which as far as I know, special sessions are closed door. We as the industry aren't going to get to speak when it comes to this bill now, and this is the unamended version. So it's back in full force. Is there anything that we can do in California specifically to fight it?
I think the biggest thing that we can do, not only in California, but industry-wide, I think it's going to take people really getting involved. And, in California, I think the biggest thing that we can do is obviously with us not going there, I think we can go there as much as we can to make our voice heard, even though we're not speaking in the session. Letters, phone calls, emails, we're really good at social media. Blow their social media up.
Absolutely.
We had the whole vaping saved my life, not blowing smoke, all that kind of stuff. But I think it also takes more than that. I think as an industry, we kind of need to put our big boy pants on and start actually acting like a business.
Right. We've been playing in the sandbox too long.
Exactly, and it was a growing industry, and it's something that we all had fun with, and continue to have fun with, and will still have fun with. But I think when it comes down to it, instead of just worrying about who can get the hottest models to take pictures with their juice, or who can sponsor the biggest event, who can throw the biggest cloud comp, who can get this much reach on social media, I think what we need to do as an industry is come together and quit all the politicking and quit all that and come together to save this thing, because we have the ability to not only save this industry with our voice, but we have the ability to save people's lives.
Absolutely. That's to me the most important thing about vaping. Yes, we've got the shiny toys. Yes, we've got the big clouds. But if we're not going after smokers, if we're chasing clouds instead of chasing smokers, we're losing the whole point of the industry.
And that's a huge thing. JT with Flawless, he sponsors a smoker. The vape industry as a whole, we're huge within ourselves. Everybody in the vape industry knows who certain people are, knows what juices they are, knows all the events. They know that stuff. But that's not who we're targeting. We shouldn't be targeting vapors so much as we should current smokers.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit of my experience. When I first got into vaping, I guess 2.5, 3 years ago now, whatever it was, I remember I went down to Houston, and my sisters, they all smoke, and I went down there and I had this vape, this old Diablo with a Nimbus on top of it. And,
right.
I quit smoking. So I go down there and they're like, what in the hell is that thing? It looks like a pipe bomb.
Right.
Well, I go down there and I'm explaining it to them, and I let them try it, and just like everybody else who hits a mod for the first time, they choke. Hell no, get that away from me. Well, we ended up taking them to a store in Houston, and my sister smoked 2 packs a day of Marlboro Red 100s. Never thought she was going to quit smoking. She's about 5 foot nothing, a little tiny ball of energy. And she started vaping and has not smoked a cigarette since.
That's fantastic.
I mean, she had tried everything, the gum, the patches, cold turkey, everything, and she would not quit smoking. And, she tells me now about all these new juices that are coming out and, like, what she sees, and she's totally in it on the consumer side of things. And it's just amazing the power that we have to change people. My mom, she passed away from a heart attack. She used to smoke. Who knows if that was the cause or not, but if vaping was around back then, that could have helped her. Right. You know, how many people would be alive today if vaping would have existed 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Right. That's something that I'm not sure if you're familiar with Greg Gutfeld, but Greg Gutfeld from The Five on Fox News Channel, he's actually one of the only people on mainstream news that will vape on the air. I've seen him do it. And one of the things that he says is, let's forget about all the politics and the semantics of this thing and look at the facts that vaping is less harmful than smoking. We know that to be true.
100%.
So what would happen if this was around all that time ago? I mean, you said your mom, he says his grandparents. All of this stuff applies. What we're doing right now is saving countless people within this generation and the next and the next. If we can, Wells Fargo correspondent said about, 6 months ago, that by 2020, vapors will outnumber smokers.
Yep.
That is a phenomenal statistic, and if that comes to pass, then we did it. We did what we needed to do. So let me just ask you one more quick question. Cutwood on the national level, do you guys support advocacy groups? Do you guys
100%.
100%. Fantastic.
We actually I'm going to kind of pull my own covers here. You know, I know a lot of the people in the industry. Orange County, California is like the hub. There's tons of people out there. All the big manufacturers are from there. And, you know, when it came to advocacy, I would share stuff. I would, you know, do the social media thing. But I never, you know, I didn't really get into it. You know, during the last vote, we had some people who were pro-vaping, anti-vaping. Some people had no stance on it. So, you know, the ones that were definitely out there, I obviously supported. But I can't really say that I was doing everything in my power.
Right.
You know, I was, you know, doing all this stuff, working with Cutwood, and we went to an event in New Jersey. And
was this last week?
Yes. Yeah. And there was a lot of things at that event that they told us, but we couldn't vape at the event. It is illegal to vape indoors because of the Clean Air Act in New Jersey. It's illegal to vape indoors.
Then the obvious answer for that show would have been to not have it in Jersey.
Why hold a vape convention? It'd be like, you know, we know heroin is illegal. I'm not going to hold a heroin convention and expect it to be okay. You know what I mean? But we go there, and there's so many vendors that spent so much money to go to that show and flew staff across the country and hotel stays and booths and everything else. And we fly out there and we can't vape. But you can test your liquid, but you can't vape.
Right.
Well, that's vaping. So it didn't affect Cutwood as much as it did some of these other vendors where, you know, they spent half of their money to go to this show. This was going to be their big launch. I think they got the short end of the stick, and it really showed me, you know, there were senators that showed up, the health department was walking around finding people, giving them citations. There were cops walking around. It was crazy. They do not want us there in Jersey.
Right.
And that event really opened my eyes to what can happen if you don't get involved.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of failed activism.
Oh, 100%. And what really sucks is up in New Jersey, they have the NJVRC. That group of guys, they work their asses off, you know, to save and to push vaping in New Jersey. And, you know, we ended up turning our booth into a big fundraiser for them. You know, we did Cutwood bottle sales, which we never do at conventions. And all that money went to the NJVRC. And us, there was Holdfast, there was Flawless, a few other companies that gave money. I think we raised close to $10,000 for them.
That's fantastic.
In that weekend. But it just really showed me, you know, the truth is, when it comes down to it, you have big tobacco and you have big pharmaceuticals who profit off of people smoking, people getting emphysema, cancer, all these different diseases, selling them medicine, you know, before they die, and they make all this money.
Absolutely.
And they don't like us because truth is, this is tobacco harm reduction at its finest. And I love the way that Phil Basardo says it. He says the safest way to vape is to not vape at all. But this is a hell of a lot safer than smoking cigarettes.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
And, you know, the power that we have and the voice that we have in this industry, to not use that to save our own asses is crazy. And even when you take a step outside of everything else and you look at the big things like saving lives, saving families, saving relationships, back when I smoked, there was people who didn't want to be around me because I smoked. Those people are around me now.
Right.
But even when you look at that, there's so many people here from so many different cultures and lives and regions and everything. This has literally brought an entire country and now planet. We were just over in England.
Right.
And it's just how it was here a year ago there. Bringing everybody together. And these are all people that used to be, bus drivers and trash men and work in, dental offices. And I owned an IT company.
Right.
And we all love this. This is so amazing to be able to travel around and be with our friends.
And be a part of the community.
Yeah. Where does a guy like me from Houston, Texas, fly halfway across the world, and I'm standing in a room and this girl walks up to me, oh my Lord, you're Chris Tucker. Like that, how does that happen? And that just, we came back from there, then we did New Jersey, and one thing I'm really looking to do is obviously Cutwood. Most people know who Cutwood is now.
Right.
I'm going to challenge a lot of the bigger vendors to kind of put their money where their mouth is and the impact that we have to push advocacy.
Absolutely.
Because we're the people that they look at, the JTs, the me, the Austins, the Erica from Local Vape, Lucy, Vince, like all these people, the Phils, the Dimitris, you have all these people that people know and admire and look at. If we do not use our voice to push advocacy and save this industry, why are we doing this?
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Absolutely. I completely agree. So that's way more than I could have asked for. I really appreciate it. Let me get your thoughts on the show real quick before we close out. Specifically here in Mobile, I know you're on the mic a lot. How is this?
Absolutely amazing, man. I'm a Southern guy. I'm from Houston originally. This is home.
So shrimp and grits. That feels
man.
like home.
The first night we get here and
are we about to talk about Winsel's?
Yeah.
Okay. I have plugged Winsel's in every interview thus far. So let's do it.
All right. So the first night we get here, everybody was kind of on the plane, and they're all California. He's smiling right now. I know y'all can't see him, but he's smiling right now. We get here, and everybody's like, well, how's it going to be? It's Alabama. People think it's like people with no teeth with banjos running around and like...
There are those. Let's not take away from
trust
that.
me. I know they're here. God bless them. God bless them. We get here, though, and we fly in, get our cars, and we're driving. We go to get somewhere to eat. We walk in this place, and Miss Pinky is there. And if you have not met Miss Pinky, I think everybody on the face of this planet should meet her. She walks in, she said, my name's Miss Pinky, and does her whole spiel, and... the char-grilled oysters.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, we had that, the fried pickles, the fried catfish, the fried everything. The food down here is absolutely amazing. Last night I had a steak somewhere over here on Dolphin Street. Absolutely great. But just the southern feel. Everything is slower down here. People are who they appear to be.
Absolutely.
You get what you see, and it's amazing. This is the love and support, and this is the first show in Alabama.
Yeah.
Everything's amazing here, except the humidity. The humidity kind of sucks, but everything other than that is awesome, man. It's been a killer show so far. People are getting pumped up. Lots of great giveaways. Lots of advocacy stuff's going on out there.
Absolutely. I wasn't down there. I've been doing interviews all day, but the lobbyist from BEAA was up there, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
Awesome.
She got up and spoke for a little bit. Really just trying to get people going for that, for them, because they're the ones that know what's going on. Yeah, I had heard about it from a couple of my shops. Once again, I manage the state, so
right.
I had heard about it from a few guys. It was actually Jonah over at Vapor Mountain in Heflin, I believe, that told me about it, and I had no idea. Which there's a problem,
right?
There's a problem right there. I have no idea. And I'm in all the groups.
I mean, it's hard, though, especially when you're on the national scene, I'm on the national scene. It's hard to keep up with everything that's happening state by state.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas slipped completely by me.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Same thing.
And now, I mean,
let's just look at it from the cutwood perspective. I mean, there are sites that sell cutwood specifically to consumers that won't be able to sell to Arkansas anymore.
We've already had that happen. We've had a few of our retailers just let us know, hey, this is what's going to happen. You're going to see a dip because, we can't sell into Arkansas. We hope it's not going to be Alabama next.
Right.
Seems like they're just starting at the top of that drop-down menu. Alaska, watch out.
Yeah.
But, it's crazy, man, when you have a product like this that is able to save lives and to make your state healthier, to save on public health care costs and all that, why would you block that? Why would you block that?
Right.
And it all has to do with money and politics. And I think the best thing for us to do right now before they regulate us is we need to regulate ourselves.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Well, Chris, I appreciate you coming on, telling me a little bit about what's going on with Cutwood. The show has been phenomenal. It's been a pleasure to meet you and hang out.
Likewise.
So we're going to move on to our next segment, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Welcome back, everyone. I am here today to finish off kind of all of the interviews that we've done today. I've got one more person, a special guest for you guys. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Tony. I'm here with my fiance, but representing Vapor Dreams in Mobile.
Awesome. So when did you guys kind of enter the vaping industry?
Well, we actually opened the shop in January of 2013, but maybe about 8 months to a year before that is when we saw it. We saw that it was coming, and we had seen already family members quit on vaping and stuff like that, and kind of made a decision we were going to open a shop. Weren't really sure how we'd go. Are we going to make juice? Are we going to make... Well, there wasn't mods then, but, are we going to make juice, or are we just going to open a retail, a mom and pop, or a brick and mortar? And that's the way we went.
Right. How's it going so far?
It's going good. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to get rich on it, owning a vape shop, but, I mean, it's fun. You're not working for the man, and you feel like you're helping people quit smoking cigarettes. And
absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I love it.
Awesome. So let's start on the state level, and then we'll move to kind of federal. You're from Alabama.
I'm not from Alabama, but I've been in Alabama for about 16 years now, and I'm pretty much ingratiated myself to this community.
Right. So of Alabama, we'll put it that way. Of Alabama, your shop's in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on state level right now with this tax that everybody's talking about?
I think first and foremost, I mean, it is really classically defined by a high level of ignorance. And you've seen that from the very onset, from what the product is, to how it's approached as far as regulation, to why, although there's a million studies, none of them can seem to find their way to the mainstream media. I mean, I think it's just marked by people not understanding, and that's the biggest thing. And I think even if you don't just say, don't tax us, I mean, I get that people will have different concerns and stuff. I just think it should be a separate issue than tobacco. First of all, logistically, it's not a tobacco product. Secondly, it's used as a cessation tool for that. And really, if it wasn't a cessation tool for one product, the two would never be mentioned in the same circles. They wouldn't. 69 known carcinogens, 600 ingredients. 0 carcinogens, 3 ingredients. Widely used in medicine. Kills 500,000 people a year. You know what I'm saying? There's a huge separation unless you lump them together because somebody else has a vested interest in seeing them taxed the same way,
Right. So with the Alabama bill in the special session going on right now, the 25 cents a milliliter, how would that affect you guys?
Well, I mean, if you look at a 30 ml bottle of juice, then you're looking about adding $7.50 to the bottle of juice. If you take a third of the price and add it on as tax immediately, even cigarettes, which are preposterous now, but look how they got people to pay for cigarettes. It'd be like 10 more cents, and 10 more cents, and 10 more cents. And yeah, you could go, that's crazy that the government would profit on people's deaths instead of, banning it, but that's how they did it. They got you to accept a 10 cents and then a 20. Everybody's like, oh, when cigarettes are $3 or when they're $4 or when they're $5, I'm going to quit. Everybody had a marker, and none of them did.
Right.
And with this, they're just talking about that is a death knell for something. Whoever wrote that kind of legislation to add a 300% tax to what they know is vastly a mom and pop, locally owned business, small business type thing, is looking to kill it, is not looking to help the people that are victims of what? Quitting cigarettes? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So the two need to be separated. And I think that's what everybody seems. I was talking to Zach from Cyclops. I talked to Zach from Vaporhood. And we've all spoken to a few different representatives and stuff like that. And the number one thing I've noticed is they don't know. Some of them didn't even know it had been added as part of the tobacco bill. And certainly the vast majority of them did not realize what the product is or have any knowledge on the product itself.
Right.
And that was basically, I spoke to a representative. I think it was actually somebody's assistant. I was trying to get a representative on the line. I spoke to one of their assistants, and I was like, by default, you are agreeing to about 600 chemicals and about 69 known carcinogens in cigarettes, and that's legal. It's taxable because it's dangerous, but it's legal. I was like, on the other hand, can you tell me what the 3 ingredients in my product are? Can you just tell me what the 3 ingredients are? And they couldn't. Nobody could to a man. Right. And so that's the problem. I just want them separated. I think that if down the road, if you want to look at it and say, it's a habit or it could have long-term effects or this and that, then sure. But at least regulate it on its own merits and not its ugly older brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. On the federal level, when it comes to everything as a whole, are you guys involved with any advocacy groups, SFATA, AIMS, anything like that?
Me personally, no. I've been a little, and I'm probably remiss in that, but the fact is, I'm running a shop, I work another job, I have 4 boys at the house, and I'm worried about this very soon impending regulation here states. So I'm not. But overall, my thing on that is probably not even good for this interview. I hate the federal government. I think they've completely lost their minds, and they're nothing like what they were meant to be in this country. They've basically thrown the Constitution out and become involved in everything. The government's job is to enforce contracts, not stipulate the terms of them. And so they've gotten in bed with a million issues they shouldn't. They've basically become the biggest mafia in the world.
I may be incorrect in saying this, but I'm almost certain that many of the founding fathers said that the government works for us. We do not work for the government.
And that is a fine thought. But, come on. That's a done thought in America. Right. So.
Right. Well, let's move on to a happier note. What do you think of the show? This is your backyard.
It is awesome. And it took me a while to get down here because I have people down here. Kate's actually been down here talking to a lot of people, and I've been at the shop kind of running it myself. And then when I wasn't, I had boys and stuff. So I just got down here today, and from what I heard today is way low-key compared to how it was tomorrow. So a huge turnout. The weird thing is, too, I figured I'd come down here on a Sunday after 3 nonstop days of it and see the vendors kind of like, God, when is it going to be over?
They're still ready
I had
to go,
enough. And the people that I've spoken to are just like, this is awesome. I'm having fun. It's good. And anything that's drawing attention like this, and when you can go to the State House on Tuesday and say, look, maybe you've just been looking at the revenue you're losing on cigarettes, and you haven't been looking at the revenue you're gaining on the fastest growing business in the United States, mom and pop shops. They're still paying taxes. That's what people don't get. Maybe not this outrageous tax that associates them with cigarettes, but they're still, it's income, it's taxes, it's jobs. And I'm sorry, but if anybody in Alabama government wants to come and explain to me how shutting down 200 some odd locally owned and operated businesses and putting about 2,500 Alabamians out of work and shutting down the revenue of all this is actually going to stimulate the economy, I would love to have that conversation. In fact, I would love to have that conversation on any sort of media that ever wants to have that conversation with people in the ruling class here in Mobile.
Absolutely. Well, any final thoughts you want to plug? Give us your website real quick.
I'll definitely plug Vapor Dreams. I also want to say, the community around here, you think about Cyclops and Stellar and Turtle Drops, and you've got Speedyville Boxes, and you've got Conspiracy, and you've got Mad Modder, and you've got all these guys, and it's a huge community, and that's what I'm saying, is it's people working towards something. And I guess if I can just say one thing, the one thing I love most about this is because I'm an economist. I like the economy. I like thinking about the way things should work. And this is the only time in my lifetime, which is sad friggin' business if you ask me, that I've seen a real true model of the free market. And you rarely ever see that anymore because of overregulation and because of misinformation and stuff like that. But this is the free market, not only in that people are making money and starting businesses and adding revenue, but in that they were self-regulating amongst themselves. They set up CASSA, they set up the Breathe Easy, they set up these organizations to make sure that we are behaving amongst ourselves. It didn't take the government coming in and doing it. And people, do the math, people are quitting. You look at the American Council on Science and Health and their final finding on nicotine and human health on page 68, when it talks about information for regulators, they said regulate it to the least amount possible because it is 99% less toxins. You have a 95% chance of living longer. So people are doing something, running their businesses, selling something that might get you to stop doing something awful for yourself. And I like that. I like seeing that happen in America for a little bit. And what's going to happen? Of course, let's re-centralize that money. Let's give it back to 3 or 4 big corporations or whatever. But for a minute, I'd like to stand up and fight for the free market or the republic. I mean, I would like to at least see if maybe we could turn things around a little bit. And this is an example of it. Maybe it's the weirdos. Maybe it's your tattooed friends or your vaping buddy or whatever. But they're Americans. They pay their taxes. They're buying a product. They're selling a product. So it's
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you coming on. You want to plug your Facebook or your website real quick?
Facebook /Vapor Dreams with a Z, or you can always find me at 92 Zoo too.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thanks.
Well, everybody, that's going to do it for everybody here at Vape Politics Radio. I appreciate if you stuck all the way to the end to hear the full podcast in all its glory. The team worked very, very hard on this one to bring you everything that we could from location, from all your favorite people. Yesterday, which is Tuesday after the show, I attended the Storm the Capitol event in Montgomery, Alabama with the Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama and spoke with Angie, their lobbyist. And we just did a lot of knocking on doors, talking to representatives. And as far as right now goes, which is Wednesday morning at 10:01 a.m., the bill has been removed from the docket. And for now, Alabama is safe from vaping taxes. However, the special session is not over and it can always be reintroduced. So please follow Vape Politics at facebook.vapepolitics.com to stay updated with that story. From everyone here at the team, we thank you so much for sticking around and listening to the entire podcast, and we will see you guys next week.